Okay, it's 29 April 2020, and I'm going to try to keep this short, but that's going to be impossible seeing I got so much to cover. We'll just go through this one box at a time. This box here is grapevines. They're all seedless grapevines of different varieties. Some that I cloned from cuttings that I ordered online, others that were purchased outright. Most recent addition are these Reliance. Those were cloned this year. Hiding over here in the corner is a pair of English walnuts, which will eventually find their own grove out on the ridge when we get around to that. But they're being given a chance to grow a bit here before we put them out there and let the deer get at them. This box here has some red pine in it, some red bud over here, and these are lilacs. Again, these are more of the Reliance seedless grapevines that I cloned over the winter. The next box up again has more of the Reliance seedless grapes, but it also has a variety of pine that I can't remember what it is, but they're shade tolerant, and we're hoping those will make it over to the ridge as well to act as a border between our property and whatever they put in the adjacent property. These two here are chestnuts, and what's remarkable about those is those are actually clones. And the word on the street is you can't clone a chestnut tree. Well, you can, it's just they won't fertilize each other. So they're going to have to be planted with other chestnuts that I grow from seed. The next one up has more of those same type of pine trees we're going to be using for the border, and some more Reliance grapes. In this box here, we have German Butterball potatoes, and let's see. That right there is the first signs of them coming up and sprouting. I'll pause it here and get over to the other side. All right, continuing now from the other side, I'll take a look at this English walnut that I've been learning to prune and take care of, and I'm pretty much happy with it, but I think I'm going to have to choose between one of those two trunks and the other one's just going to have to go away. Behind it here we have Blackberries. These, oh, do I remember the varieties? No, but they really did good last year. Giant berries, as big as a quarter around. Tasted great. The main thing to watch out for on these is this particular variety has some wicked thorns. So they'll fight back when you go to pick them. Then looking down the way here, these are all raspberries, red raspberries. We've got blackberries that grow wild on the ridge, but in the yard these are all red raspberries, and we'll see how well they do this year, because last year they didn't do so well, which disappointed the granddaughters, who typically come out here with a bowl of raspberries, and by the time they're done they go back in the house with an empty bowl. The first box we encounter here now is these are red potatoes, Pontiac perhaps. There's some weeds in there, but these are really starting to come up. Most of what you see here is the red potatoes. Now this next box next to it is all apple trees that are being grown that they're large enough to be able to survive whenever I plant them out in the wild. I do need them. I was over there the other day and discovered that 5 of my fruit trees had died, so this is going to replace them. This next box down is dominated by Egyptian walking onions, which are really cool, because considering the date, you can see the size of the onions as they're growing here early in spring. So they can be picked for food, but my concentration is on propagating and preserving. The questionable part about this box is whether or not those pawpaws are going to come back after winter. We have our doubts as of this point, so we'll see. This box here is fingerling potatoes. They come up early like the red potatoes do. I think this variety is called Lorata. If you're not familiar with fingerlings, they're typically this type of potato here. So these are the ones that were left over. I didn't bother to keep them, but we do have an abundance of these that we picked about a month ago, and we've been eating non-stop. So this is another prepper interest approach of being able to overwinter your potatoes in the ground so they can eat them in early spring when there's not a whole lot of other stuff available for eating. This is my second and third batch of radishes. I plant my radishes and lettuce in succession so that I've got a continual harvest to be able to work with. You notice these over here are much smaller than these, and I'll be showing you that box down there that has an even earlier batch. It lets me eat the backyard on a continual basis. In this box here, I have sugar maples. There are some Norway maples over on the ridge that I'm going to be cutting down and replacing with sugar maples, that someday I might be able to do some maple sugaring. These Egyptian walking onions in here, you might be able to notice there's a scape right there. Unlike normal onions that produce a flower head, they produce bulbils, fall over, and they propagate that way. I am trying to make an effort to plant more than one thing in almost every one of my boxes. In this box here, we have elderberries that are doing wonderful. They might even be ready to transplant this year, but if nothing else, I'll just keep them growing here, take cuttings of them so I can clone those for more and then plant out the parents later. This is the first batch of lettuce and radishes, and it's growing over top of, I should have mentioned, that other box there is growing over top of a box of purple Viking potatoes. They haven't come up yet. The idea is I'll take advantage of the garden, grow something on it until the potatoes come up, and then we'll find someplace else. And this box here has Kennebec type potatoes growing in it, but over top we see the radishes and the lettuce coming up. All the varieties are being grown here are all organic, or they're heirlooms, so that I can propagate from my own seeds. And in the case of these radishes, these are all from my seeds. The lettuce is a variety called Nevada. I don't know if they're available anymore, but I grew those. These are my seeds as well. So now to spin around and take a look at what else we've got here. This box is waiting to eventually be growing green beans. I'll be doing the green beans in crops as well, because if I do them all at once, I'll have a whole bunch of green beans at once and then nothing else. So about once every week to 10 days, this part of the garden will get a couple of more green beans or yellow beans. The next box over is growing service berries. The service berries are doing pretty good. Let's see if I can get a decent... It's sort of hard to get a good picture of it because I've got netting over all of these. I've got to deal with... Let's see, where is it? I've got to deal with the birds. The birds want to sneak in through the top of the cage and eat my seedlings as they come up. So I've got service berries on this side, and then there's some common persimmon over there that are not dead. They're starting to come out of dormancy if you look really close. I'll spare you that. In this box here, we have garlic that I'm experimenting with because I didn't bother to separate the cloves from the bulb until the spring, and they seem to be handling it. This is also being reserved for more onions and shallots. Then I have my experimental box where I have more of the Egyptian walking onions. You can see what the Egyptian walking onions look like here. Whenever they've been growing for a while, they basically dominate the ground and spread out from there. In addition to that, I've got some rows of Sharon, which is here. Those are going to be for a hedge. Over there in the corner are chestnuts that were grown from seed. And over here I have some, I think that might be rows of Sharon. Yeah, I can't remember at all. Alright, so then moving along, we've got this box which is reserved for onions. I've got 15 varieties of onions, all heirlooms or organics. And in the corner there are some onions that grew up from the funky ones that I left in the ground last year. I put them all in the corner so I can pick them whenever I want and just see how they do for the second year. In addition to that, because they're biannuals, they should be going to seed. Those were a yellow onion. These are a white onion, same story. Room reserved in the box for more onions that are currently sprouting on my front porch. And if you haven't noticed, the theme is another box reserved for onions. In the corner are some onions that I found growing in my yard and that I've dug up and I've eaten before, but I want to see how they do when you put them in good dirt under good conditions. Now here in this corner are some red bull onions left over from last year, and again this box will be filled with more onions. Now let me pause this and take you down. The tree. There is so many flowers on this tree, and I'm hoping the weather will not destroy them before they come due. The bees have found the tree, and I noticed them servicing this tree earlier today. So I'm really pleased with this. That tree over there is starting to put off some buds, but the flowers haven't developed yet. So I'm gonna say that's about it for now. I hope you enjoyed. Take care. Bye.